The New York Knicks have successfully avoided a potentially problematic situation with guard Landry Shamet by choosing to retain him on the roster despite his ongoing shoulder injury. The critical deadline to guarantee his contract has passed, and team management made the decision to keep Shamet rather than cutting him loose, marking an important moment in the franchise's approach to roster stability during this challenging period. Shamet has been sidelined since sustaining a shoulder injury during the matchup against the Orlando Magic on November 22nd. The nature of this injury raised serious questions about his future with the organization, particularly given the extended recovery timeline that was initially anticipated. Many observers expected the Knicks to make a difficult financial decision regarding the veteran guard's status with the team. The Athletic's James Edwards pointed out back in November that releasing Shamet wouldn't have been an unrealistic move, especially considering that this was actually a re-injury of the same shoulder that had previously troubled him. At that time, there were genuine concerns that surgical intervention might be necessary to properly address the problem. Edwards specifically noted that if Shamet were hypothetically out for 2 months or more, the Knicks might not be able to afford having him occupying a roster spot without contributing on the court. The suggestion was that New York could potentially cut Shamet before his deal became guaranteed after the new year, though he could have been traded after December 15th as an alternative option. As circumstances have unfolded, the Knicks have either determined they can afford to keep Shamet on injured reserve, or they've made the strategic choice to do so regardless of the financial implications. This decision demonstrates the organization's commitment to the player and their belief in his eventual return to form. The details surrounding Shamet's injury recovery have remained largely unclear to the public, though there are indications he could return to action within the coming week. This would place him approximately 6 weeks removed from the initial incident. However, no official medical update has been released by the team, and Shamet remained unavailable for the recent game against the Los Angeles Clippers. The current shoulder problem stems from an original injury that occurred back in 2024. At that time, Shamet made the personal decision to pursue recovery without undergoing surgery. This choice allowed for a shorter rehabilitation period, which was his desired outcome at that moment. However, this conservative treatment approach left the shoulder vulnerable to future complications, ultimately resulting in the re-injury that has kept him out of action for the past several weeks. The absence of both Shamet and Josh Hart has been noticeably felt on the defensive end of the floor for the Knicks. The team had struggled through a difficult 4-game losing streak before finally breaking through with a victory over the Clippers. These defensive struggles highlighted just how important depth and rotation flexibility are for this organization's success. Prior to suffering the shoulder injury, Shamet was experiencing what appeared to be the beginning of a career resurgence. The 28-year-old was putting together impressive performances and had averaged 9.3 points per game during his healthy stretch. Even more encouraging was the fact that he had posted 3 consecutive games with double-digit point totals, suggesting he was finding his rhythm within the Knicks' offensive system. Meanwhile, Hart has recently been cleared for light court work and is scheduled for a medical re-evaluation in 1 week's time. While his return alone likely won't solve all of the defensive issues the team has been experiencing, his presence and leadership qualities are greatly missed. Many analysts and team insiders have discussed Hart as an underrated but essential component of the Knicks' team chemistry and cohesion, making his absence even more significant than his statistics might suggest. The decision to guarantee Shamet's contract represents a vote of confidence from the front office. It signals that management believes in his ability to contribute meaningfully once he returns to full health. This patience and loyalty to injured players could also serve as an important message to the entire locker room about how the organization treats its members during difficult circumstances. The Knicks are currently navigating a challenging period in their season, and having Shamet available could provide crucial depth once he's cleared to return. His shooting ability and veteran experience make him a valuable asset for any team with championship aspirations. The organization clearly views him as an important piece of their rotation puzzle moving forward. Team chemistry and morale are often cited as critical factors in successful seasons, and the decision to stand by Shamet during his recovery period demonstrates organizational values that extend beyond simple on-court production. This approach to player management can have lasting effects on how current and future players view the franchise. The financial implications of this decision are significant, but manageable for a team operating with championship expectations. By keeping Shamet on the roster, the Knicks have shown they're willing to absorb short-term costs for potential long-term benefits. This strategic thinking aligns with their overall approach to building a sustainable contender in the competitive Eastern Conference landscape. Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo has delivered disappointing news to New York Knicks fans who have been hoping to see the two-time MVP in the iconic orange and blue uniform. With the February 5th trade deadline rapidly approaching and speculation intensifying across the league, the Greek Freak has made his position abundantly clear regarding his future with the franchise that drafted him. In a definitive statement that appears to shut down any possibility of requesting a move, Antetokounmpo emphasized his commitment to the organization. Speaking with conviction, he declared that there will never be a moment when he publicly announces a desire to be traded. He stressed that making such a request simply isn't in his nature, pausing deliberately for emphasis to drive home the seriousness of his words. The timing of these comments is particularly notable, possibly influenced by the recent controversy involving Trae Young, who recently forced his way to the Washington Wizards. That situation may have prompted Antetokounmpo to address the persistent rumors surrounding his own situation more directly than he might have otherwise. During the same interview, the 31-year-old forward provided additional context about his relationship with the Bucks organization. He pointed out that team management has stated publicly through media channels that they have no intention of trading him unless he specifically asks to be moved. This statement effectively pours cold water on the speculation that has been building throughout the season. Antetokounmpo questioned what this organizational stance should tell observers about his commitment. He emphasized that he has never approached team management to request a trade, reinforcing his dedication to winning a championship with the team that believed in him from the beginning. The sentiment from the Knicks front office appears to align with this reality. New York's leadership seems unlikely to pursue any serious trade discussions at this juncture, especially considering recent public statements from team owner James Dolan. The Knicks owner has expressed satisfaction with the current roster construction and the team's chemistry. Dolan made a rare press appearance on Dewey Fan Radio this week, primarily to discuss the controversial and unexpected firing of head coach Tom Thibodeau. During that conversation, he also addressed the persistent Giannis rumors that have been circulating throughout the basketball world. Dolan emphasized the importance of developing homegrown talent rather than constantly chasing big-name acquisitions. While rumors swirled throughout the previous summer suggesting that the Knicks and Bucks had engaged in preliminary conversations regarding the star forward, Dolan reported that he was not aware of any such discussions taking place. He described the current locker room atmosphere as exceptionally positive, claiming it's more harmonious than any locker room he has witnessed during his tenure as owner. However, Dolan did acknowledge that if team president Leon Rose feels differently about pursuing potential roster upgrades, Rose would have the authority to override his perspective and move forward with negotiations. This caveat leaves the door slightly ajar, though the overall tone suggests the Knicks are content with their current direction. The Bucks find themselves in a challenging position this season, sitting at 16 wins and 21 losses, which places them 11th in the Eastern Conference standings. This disappointing record has naturally fueled speculation about potential changes to the roster. While Antetokounmpo has repeatedly stated his desire to win with Milwaukee, the team's performance hasn't supported those championship aspirations thus far. The situation bears some resemblance to Pittsburgh Pirates baseball star Paul Skeens, who similarly insists on his loyalty to his current team, while trade rumors swirl about a potential move to New York. Like Skeens, Antetokounmpo must balance personal loyalty with the competitive desire to win at the highest level. Antetokounmpo already has an impressive championship pedigree behind him. He led the Bucks to an NBA title in 2021, cementing his legacy in Milwaukee basketball history. That accomplishment provides him with a foundation of success that gives his current loyalty additional weight and meaning. The question facing the forward is whether he wants to remain loyal to the organization that drafted him or prioritize adding another championship ring to his collection. For now, his public statements indicate he's choosing loyalty, even as his team struggles to find consistent success on the court. This decision reflects broader themes about player movement and team loyalty in the modern NBA. The landscape has shifted dramatically in recent years, with superstars increasingly willing to request trades or change teams in pursuit of championships. Antetokounmpo's stance represents a more traditional approach to professional basketball, where franchise loyalty carries significant weight. The contrast between Antetokounmpo's approach and recent player movement trends highlights an interesting divide in how different athletes view their careers and legacies. Some prioritize winning championships at all costs, while others value the connection to a single organization throughout their prime years. For Knicks fans who had hoped to see the superstar in their uniform, this development serves as a reminder that not every star player is available through trade negotiations. Building through the draft and smart acquisitions remains the most reliable path to sustained success, even if it's less exciting than landing a marquee free agent or trade target in the short term. A hypothetical three-team trade proposal has emerged that would send New York Knicks forward Yabusele to the San Antonio Spurs, potentially solving several roster challenges for the organization. With less than 1 month remaining until the NBA trade deadline, the Knicks front office faces critical decisions regarding their current roster construction and future flexibility. The team's situation is complicated by their status as a hard-capped organization, a designation they received after signing Yabusele during the offseason. This hard-cap restriction significantly limits their ability to make in-season trades and roster adjustments. Owner James Dolan recently made public comments suggesting the team would move forward with their current roster configuration, though emerging issues may force management to reconsider this stance. The Knicks have experienced notable defensive struggles over recent weeks, raising questions about whether the impending returns of injured players Landry Shamet and Josh Hart will be sufficient to address these problems. If New York decides to make a move before the deadline, it will likely be a peripheral adjustment rather than a major shakeup of their core rotation. The proposed trade scenario pitched by ESPN analyst Kevin Pelton involves the San Antonio Spurs and Washington Wizards alongside the Knicks. Under this framework, New York would send Yabusele to San Antonio along with a 2026 second-round draft pick originally belonging to the Phoenix Suns but currently held by Washington. In return, the Knicks would receive Cam Whitmore from the Wizards, while Washington would acquire Jeremy Sochan from the Spurs. From the Knicks' perspective, this transaction is primarily motivated by financial considerations rather than talent acquisition. Yabusele agreed to a 2-year contract that guarantees him $5.5 million for the current campaign, with a player option worth $5.8 million for the following season. Moving this salary commitment off the books would create valuable roster flexibility. By bringing back Whitmore, who earns only $3.5 million this season, the Knicks would generate the necessary salary cap space to potentially add another player through the buyout market or free agency. This financial maneuvering could prove crucial for a legitimate title contender looking to strengthen their roster for the playoff push. The buyout market consistently produces veteran players who become available and could contribute to championship-caliber teams down the stretch. As a recognized contender in the Eastern Conference, New York would be an attractive destination for experienced players seeking one final opportunity to compete for a title. A trade like this would provide the financial flexibility needed to capitalize on such opportunities. Any production that Whitmore might provide would be considered an additional benefit rather than the primary motivation for the deal. Yabusele has struggled to find his role within the Knicks system since joining the team. The French forward simply hasn't been the right fit for what head coach Mike Brown is trying to accomplish with this roster. Whitmore would bring solid size to the perimeter at 6 feet 6 inches tall and 230 pounds, though he doesn't directly address what many analysts see as a potential need for additional frontcourt depth. The 20th overall selection in the 2023 NBA draft, Whitmore possesses untapped potential that Brown and his coaching staff might be able to develop. The young guard has shown willingness to give minutes to younger players this season, providing them opportunities to demonstrate their capabilities on the court. This approach could benefit Whitmore significantly if he joins the organization. Additionally, Whitmore is a Villanova product, which carries special significance for this franchise. The Knicks have experienced tremendous success with alumni from that program, earning the nickname Nova Knicks due to the presence of players like Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Hart, and Ryan Arcidiacono, who have all worn the uniform in recent years. This Villanova connection has become an important part of the team's identity and culture. The French forward Yabusele has not provided the impact that management hoped for when they signed him during the offseason. His inability to adjust to his unexpected role within the rotation has made him expendable despite the initial optimism surrounding his arrival. Moving his contract would allow the team to reset and pursue alternatives that might better fit their system. While this trade proposal remains hypothetical at this stage, it represents the type of creative roster management that could help the Knicks optimize their championship window. The combination of financial flexibility and the potential upside of a young player like Whitmore makes this scenario worth serious consideration as the deadline approaches. The front office must carefully weigh all available options as they navigate the complexities of operating as a hard-capped team. Every roster decision carries amplified significance under these restrictions, making strategic planning even more crucial than usual. The ability to create financial flexibility while potentially adding developmental talent represents an ideal outcome for this type of transaction. Looking ahead, the Knicks must balance their immediate championship aspirations with long-term roster sustainability. Making smart, calculated moves now could set the stage for continued success beyond just the current season. The organization has built something special with their current core, and maintaining that foundation while making intelligent adjustments will be key to their future prospects. As the trade deadline looms closer, expect continued speculation about potential moves involving various members of the Knicks roster. The team's performance over the next few weeks will likely influence their ultimate approach to deadline decisions.